Michele Morrone, the Italian actor, model, musician, basically a walking thirst trap, became a global sensation after starring in the steamy 2020 Netflix hit 365 Days. But what most people don't know is how close he was to walking away from it all. I mean, this guy was literally at rock bottom, divorced, broke, and battling serious depression. At one point, he was working as a gardener just to survive. So how did he go from trimming hedges to topping charts, starring in movies, and melting screens across the world? Let's rewind his story, because trust me, it's way deeper than just abs and smoldering looks. Michele Morrone was born on October 3, 1990, in Bitonto, a small town in Italy's southern region of Apulia. He's the youngest in a big Italian family, 3 older sisters and a brother who's now a photographer. His mom, Angela, was a seamstress, and his dad, Natalie, worked in construction, a working-class family just trying to get by. When Michele was still a kid, the whole family moved up north to Melegnano, near Milan, hoping for better job opportunities. But life didn't exactly get easier. When Michele was just 12, his father passed away, a huge blow that hit the family hard. From that point on, his mother raised them on her own. Growing up, Michele wasn't exactly the perfect student. He failed his first year of high school, not because he wasn't smart, but because he had a rebellious streak and probably too much energy for a classroom. But even then, there were signs that this kid was different, creative, intense, and emotional. He spent most of his childhood bouncing between Apulia and Melegnano, playing with friends, dreaming big, and slowly figuring out who he wanted to be. Michele Morrone's love for acting started early, and like a lot of kids from his generation, it all began with Harry Potter. He was just 11 when he watched the movie that would change everything. Something about the magic, the world building, the feeling that anything was possible, it sparked something deep in him. That's when he knew, he didn't just want to watch movies, he wanted to be in them. From that moment on, acting became more than just a dream. He joined an after-school drama program in middle school and started performing in small plays. But while the passion was there, the road wasn't easy. Michele wasn't the typical straight-A student. He got held back his first year of high school because of bad behavior, but it didn't stop him. If anything, it made him even more determined to carve out a different path. Eventually, he started taking acting seriously and trained professionally at Teatro Fraschini in Pavia, a proper theater where he laid the foundation for his craft. That's also where he landed his first real stage role in a play called Noah's Cat back in 2010. And from there, it slowly began. To pay for his training and survive, Michele took whatever work he could find. He handed out flyers on the street, worked construction jobs, including laying parquet floors, and just hustled to keep the dream alive. Acting classes in Italy weren't cheap, and his mother couldn't afford them. So he found another way, watching movies obsessively, picking one actor at a time, and studying every move, every line delivery, every emotion. It was like his own self-taught masterclass in acting. After graduation, he made a big move to Rome, the heart of Italian cinema. He found a tiny place to live and a job on a construction site. But he didn't stop auditioning. His very first gig was a beer commercial. He was so excited, he called his mom right away. They picked me. But here's the twist, it was animated. So even though he was in the ad, no one could actually see him. Still, it was a start. From there, he began landing small roles in Italian TV shows like Come on Delfino 2 and Second Chance. Nothing huge yet, but enough to build momentum, one step at a time. Michele wasn't an overnight success. He was grinding, failing, learning, and slowly getting better, not just as an actor, but as a person. The big break was still far off, but the fire was already lit. As the years went by, Michele kept chipping away at his career, one role at a time. He wasn't blowing up yet, but his face was starting to pop up more often, small parts in Italian drama shows, guest roles in TV series, even lead roles in short films. He started appearing in music videos too, building a modest but steady name for himself in the local industry. Slowly, things were moving, not fast, not loud, but they were moving. In 2014, his life took a different turn. That's when he married Rubasada, a Lebanese fashion designer he had met a few years earlier during a trip to Lebanon. They kept things private, holding a small civil ceremony in Italy, and another intimate one in Lebanon with just a handful of guests. For a while, it looked like he had found his balance, career, family, and love. They had 2 sons together, Marcus, born in 2014, and Brando in 2017. But by 2018, everything had started to fall apart. Michele and Ruba separated quietly. They didn't make a big announcement, didn't post dramatic statements. In fact, most people didn't even know he was married until after the divorce. But behind the scenes, the separation hit him like a freight train. Emotionally, mentally, even financially, he was drained. The media eventually caught on in 2019, when photos surfaced of him with a ballet dancer, and people started speculating about infidelity. Michele quickly shut it down, revealing that he and Ruba had been divorced for a while. But by then, the damage was already done, not to his image, but to his spirit. The breakup sent him spiraling into a deep depression. He felt completely lost. No acting gigs were coming in, his bank account was running on fumes, and for the first time, he genuinely thought about quitting everything. He just wanted peace, so he disappeared. He left city life behind and moved to a tiny village with barely 1,000 people. No red carpets, no scripts, just silence. That's where he found work as a gardener. Digging soil, trimming hedges, doing honest work with his hands, trying to find some sense of control again. It was during that time, when he was working in the garden, not knowing what the future held, that he got the call that would change everything. A director had stumbled across an old photos of him online, from a forgotten Facebook album, of all places, and saw something in him. They didn't want him to audition, didn't ask for casting tapes, they just knew. At first, Michele thought it was a prank. Here he was, in muddy clothes, pruning bushes, and someone was telling him they had a lead role for him. It didn't feel real. He almost didn't go. But something told him to take the chance. That role wasn't just any role, it was Massimo in 365 Days, the brooding dominant mafia boss in one of the steamiest films Netflix has ever dropped. The moment the film hit Netflix in 2020, it exploded. Within days, it became one of the most watched films globally. In the US, it did something no other movie had done before. It held the #1 spot twice, across multiple days. It was everywhere, TikTok, Twitter. Michele Morrone was suddenly the face of obsession. He signed a 3-year contract with the production company, filming 2 more movies to complete the 365 Days trilogy. But honestly, it was the first film that changed the game. It turned a relatively unknown actor into a full-blown international star. And let's be honest, we all know why the film blew up. Sure, it had drama, wild twists, and steamy scenes. But let's not kid ourselves, it was Morrone's face that did half the work. This man went from trimming bushes in a small village to becoming a global heartthrob, all because a director saw an old photo of him online and said, "That's the face we need." I mean, look at Michele Morrone, that tall 6 feet 2 inches frame, the bone structure, that perfectly groomed beard, and those tattoos that just scream dangerous but sensitive. It's like someone built a fantasy character in real life. Michele isn't just good looking, he's in top shape too. For him, fitness isn't just a hobby, it's part of the job. On top of that, he follows a strict nutrition plan to keep everything on point. No surprise he ended up on every sexiest man alive list that year. He wasn't just playing Massimo, he became the role. And in doing so, Michele Morrone went from being a relatively unknown Italian actor to the face of a global franchise. The gardener became the fantasy, and the world took notice. His Instagram exploded. One day, he had around 4,000 followers. The next day, over 2 million. It happened so fast, his phone basically shut down. In interviews, he said his app glitched and kept freezing. He had to delete Instagram and reinstall it just to get it working again. That's how fast the world discovered him. So just to recap, one moment he was trimming hedges in a remote village, and the next, he was Netflix's #1 heartthrob, with millions of fans thirst following him overnight, all because of one photo, one director, and a face that was impossible to ignore. But Michele Morrone wasn't just stopping at acting. Turns out the guy's a one-man creative machine. After the success of 365 Days, people discovered something else about him. He could sing. And not just karaoke-level singing, we're talking full-on professional vocalist with legit songwriting chops. What most people didn't realize is that Michele taught himself how to play guitar when he was 25. No expensive music school, no private lessons, just him, YouTube tutorials, and a ton of persistence. That passion eventually turned into a debut album called Dark Room, released on February 14, 2020. The album featured several tracks that ended up in the 365 Days soundtrack, including one of his most popular songs, Feel It, which also has a sensual music video featuring his co-star, Anna Maria Ciclucca. Let's just say, the chemistry didn't stop on set, but music wasn't the only lane he jumped into. In January 2020, just before everything exploded, Michele launched a YouTube channel. Within months, it had millions of subscribers and hundreds of millions of views. His fans weren't just watching his movies, they were following everything he touched. And speaking of touching things, he also launched his own fashion brand. And if you're still trying to figure out what lane this guy doesn't dominate, he's also a painter. In his free time, Michele enjoys painting and has even shared some of his artwork on social media. Acting, singing, designing, painting, and apparently still finds time to ride horses. Yep, he's a horse guy too. He owns a horse named Iron, and yes, it looks exactly as cinematic as you'd imagine. And the language game, he's got that covered too. Michele is fluent in Italian, English, and Arabic. English wasn't even his second language. He taught himself by watching movies and reading books, all because he dreamed of making it in the US. He didn't want to be just another local star. He wanted to cross borders, and he did. In 2020, he won a distinctive International Arab Festivals Award, a recognition of both his acting and his impact across international audiences. So yeah, Michele Morrone isn't just a Netflix face. He's an actor, a musician, a fashion designer, a horse rider, a polyglot, and somehow, even with all that going on, still finds time to post thirst traps and oil paintings. Life really can change in the blink of an eye. From depression, to working as a gardener just to survive, to becoming a Netflix star with global fame. All it took was a few pictures, buried in an old Facebook account, that caught the right person's attention. And suddenly, Michele Morrone went from rock bottom to international stardom. It honestly reminds me of Sean O'Prye, one of the most successful male models ever. His whole career started from just a couple of prom pictures posted online. Sometimes, the smallest moments can lead to the biggest changes. If you want to know more about that handsome model, check out this video next.